teacher Juano, and today I'll be reading you a story that might be very interesting for you. I think it'll be your first time to unlock these ideas, concepts, and words, okay? All right, so my story for you today is actually a digital book from Epic called Otis P. Oliver Protests by Keri, Claiborne, Boyle, and illustrated by Daniel Duncan. All right, so this book is from Epic, as you can see, so it will be a very interesting digital book for all of you, okay? All right, so let me just, there we go, all right. So Otis P. Oliver Protests, and have you ever heard of this word, protest? So let's unlock it together as we go with our story, okay? This is for 3 years old to 7 years old, yeah? All right, so let's begin our story. Otis P. Oliver refused to take a bath. Oh, there's Otis P. Oliver. Can you see him? He's dirty, and look, I guess those waves mean that he smells bad. There's his mom, and he refuses to take a bath. I don't want to take a bath. He has that look. If it were up to him, baths would be strictly prohibited. However, when you have an oldest big sister, a middle big sister, and a youngest big sister, your opinions tend to be equal to that of the family dog. Oh, so he has 3 big sisters, which makes him the youngest, which is, he's the bunso. But it seems since he's the youngest, his opinions don't really matter. Nobody listens to him. Nobody listens to what he has to say. His opinions to be equal that of the family dog. No, man, that kind of sucks. It's worth mentioning that the dog only gets 1 bath a month. Otis gets 4 baths a week, especially when he's excessively grubby. And since worm farms aren't going to build themselves, Otis usually excessively grubby. Oh, so he prefers to play a lot with the mud, with the worms, like his dog. Now, every time he came near, his family held their noses. Oh, it smells bad. This meant Otis' anti-bath stance would likely result in tense family standoff. Look at that, everyone's covering their nose. Only the dog seems like it, but the cat doesn't like it as well. To avoid the tub, he'd need to be taken seriously, but being taken seriously required a more serious look. He'd also need backup, so Otis rounded up his neighbor pals and delivered a fiery speech. "We must unite! Fight the establishment! Demand bath time rights! The only thing we have to fear is soap itself!" So he's gathering people for his cause. And so this is what we call a protest. So let's see. Oops, sorry. Then they marched all the way up to Snickerdoodle Street, attracting attention as they went. Oh, look at that. All the kids are also dirty like him, and they are all fighting for their tub rights, as they would say, or his bathroom rights, right? And look, they have signs. They have protest signs. What does it say? Join the anti-tub club. Occupy dirt. I feel bath wrath. So next, Otis led the unruly crowd to picket the driveway. Finally, the crew plopped down in Otis's front yard, refusing to move until certain demands were met. So kids, what is a protest? So I think some of you might have heard of it from the news, or seen it from the newspapers, or seen it in TV. So this is what a protest is. Usually it's a community who have similar agreements, and they don't agree with some rules. And most of them should be peaceful, meaning nobody gets hurt. But what matters is their voice is getting out. That's why they make signs like this, and they were making noises just like what you see here. So in this case, these kids are protesting not to take a bath. After some time, the front door the front door open, and it's Otis's oldest big sister, stomped across the yard and thrust a note at him. So he's getting a note from his older sister. My dearest Otis, what is this all about? Love, Mama. He turned the note over and scratched out a quick response. No more bats. Love, Otis. P.S. What's for dinner? I don't like mystery meatloaf. He handed it to his sister, who snorted and stomped back into the house. So the mom is now trying to ask, what is Otis protesting about? Oh, another sister came here. 5 minutes later, his middle big sister came out and, with a hand on one hip and a loud sigh, dropped a second note into Otis's lap. Sweetheart, why don't you want to take a bath? Love, Mama. P.S. Don't worry, it's lasagna night. Otis scribbled another reply. Cause my jammies always stick to my skin after a bath. Then they get all twisted when I try to put my arm and legs through. Love, Otis. P.S. Garlic bread too? He gave it to his sister, who rolled her eyes and sauntered off. Occupy dirt. Join the anti-tub club. So they're still continuing to protest, but the sister got the message and delivered it to the mom. 5 minutes after, the door opened yet again, and out skipped his tutu-wearing youngest big sister, who performed a quick perut, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, before handing Otis another note. Oh dear, that is a problem. What if jammies were optional from now on? You can always just wear your birthday suit. All my love, Mom. P.S. Of course there's garlic bread. Oh, so the response of the mom, she listened to what was the problem, and now what is she doing? Do you know what you call that? She's giving an option because she noticed that Otis said that the jammies are a problem after I take a bath. Otis mulled over his mom's response. Then he huddled with his closest supporters to discuss the offer. Finally, he jotted down his answer. Okay, fine. Love, Otis. P.S. Dessert, right? He handed it to his sister, who twirled away. Oh, so it looks like that the mom gave a suggestion. Otis was okay with the suggestion. This is what we call a compromise. But then as Otis stood up, thanked his fellow protesters, and sent them on their way, the dog padded out with a slobbery note in her mouth. Otis grabbed it. Alright, so they're no longer protesting. My little grubworm, so glad we reached a compromise. So there you go. A compromise is when there's a disagreement and the two groups usually talk it out to find a middle ground, which is the compromise, which means that both groups are okay and agree to this. So I hope that unlocking this word, I hope that when you have a disagreement with somebody, you learn to compromise with them. So let's see this compromise. So Otis will now consider taking a bath, but making the pajamas optional. So let's see. So my little grubworm, so glad we reached a compromise. Now get in the tub before you're grounded for life. Hugs and kisses, Mom. P.S. No dessert on school nights. Otis headed inside, ready to hop in the tub. Maybe he'd leave a little smudge somewhere, just for old time's sake. But first, there was one last thing he needed to do. So he's ready to take a bath. He's thinking about something. Oh, he wrote a letter. Dear Mom, happy to announce I'll take a bath, but no soap. Maybe if there was a dessert tonight, I'd consider a compromise. Much love, Otis. P.S. Ice cream, preferably chocolate. Oh, so now he's making a new compromise. He'll consider putting soap if there was dessert. And there's the dedication page to the loves of my life, Andrew, Riley, Kayleigh, and Nolan. That's from the author's initials. And that ends our story, Otis P. Oliver Protest. So kids, I hope that you enjoyed this story. Now you know what it means to protest, but at the same time, we also unlock the word compromise and the concept of compromise. So if you have a disagreement with your grown-ups or maybe a friend, always try to compromise, okay? Because for protest, we always try to make sure that it's a peaceful one. Nobody gets hurt, and you just keep talking and conversing until we all make a good agreement, all right? So continue to compromise for all the times that you are in a disagreement with somebody, all right? Just keep talking it out. So thank you for listening to this read aloud, and enjoy the other read alouds from the other teachers.